ॐ ब्रह्ममेतु मां मधुमेतु मां ब्रह्ममेव मधुमेतु मां ब्रह्ममेधया मधुमेधया ब्रह्ममेव मधुमेधया ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May Brahman, the absolute existence, be realized by us. May the absolute bliss be realized by us. May Brahman, who is the absolute bliss, be realized by us. May we realize the Brahman absolute existence by the purification of our understanding. May we realize the highest bliss with the purification of our understanding. May we realize Brahman, which is also the absolute bliss, with the purification of our understanding. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, this is a very interesting and fundamentally important topic in the discussion of Vedanta. Many important texts, right from Upanishads or the books of Shankaracharya like Viveka Chudamani, or some other important primers of Vedanta like Vedanta Sara. They discuss this topic to understand how our personality is a threefold personality. It has different layers, and these are intertwined in a way that different functionalities become apparent. We actually feel all these three bodies. Well, feel is not the right word. We have experience of all these bodies, but not very clearly. And therefore, this understanding of how we have these three different bodies kind of put into each other. They are not three separate units as such, but to give an example, this example comes handy. Suppose you have an electric fan. Now when it is functioning as fan, you have the three things going on there. One is the what is outside, it is apparent, the blades of the fan. You see them moving. So that is the one part, the most visible aspect of it. Then there is the motor that is inside. Normally it's not so clearly visible, but it is the motor that is powering the motion. So this is another part of it, another body of this fan. And third, the electricity, that is third aspect of it. So electricity is still far more difficult to perceive, but as we know, without electricity none of these will be functional. So similarly, our body, imagine, has these three different layers at which it is functioning. So this body is really, if you see in the background, it has no specifications. It appears at a stage where we uh, are not clear about who we are. The scriptures say that we are really one without second, existence itself. Uh, and it is sometimes characterized by the sound symbol Om. Does it play, Jitendra? So, as the picture describes, now this is the picture is, the three. One is shown bigger, the other is a little smaller than that, the third is still little smaller than that. But all these are uh, not really there. It is the one reality which has no separation, nothing that you can show here, there, like that. Uh, that is the truth that is all the while, all the time there. There is no break there. So, therefore, let us try to see how these things, uh, when we have the perception of that truth, then there is no need of the body. The bodies do not come into, perception or picture there. It is only as we do not have that perception, the bodies come into picture. This is a very interesting phenomena, friends, that as the sages describe, that our true nature, that is infinite, beyond time, space, causation. These words actually, if we ponder over these, then you will be able to feel that why the bodies are not necessary in the true nature of ours. It is infinite. Bodies are, as you can say, finite, and then beyond time, space, and causation. None of these really are part of our true nature. They come into picture only when we forget our true, intrinsically divine and infinite nature. Intrinsically perfect. We are perfect. There is no need. Need means there is not perfection. Something is lacking that I need. So, need shows imperfection. In my true nature, there is therefore no need. It is intrinsically perfect. So, it is intrinsically blissful and peaceful. Just try to meditate on these ideas. I am that. And just close your eyes and think that I am all pervading infinite. There is no desire, no need. I am perfect. I am bliss itself. I am peace itself. This is my true nature. This is what one can realize in the state of what is called samadhi, transcendence of our names and forms. Just even mentally, if you think that your name and form is gone, after all, name and form is not real, that much we understand, It is only in our ignorance we give value to name and form. For example, animal crackers, familiar example, that names and forms don't have much value. The reality is same whether it is a rabbit or an elephant. When you eat, it is the same thing. It is you are neither eating actually rabbit or an elephant. You can still remain vegetarian when you eat animal cracker. Either rabbit or elephant doesn't matter. So when we see that our names and forms are gone, nothing substantial has gone. But what happens thereby? I can see myself as infinite. Just abstraction of name and form. Because of name and form, I am here and not there. I am here and I am not on sun. Just remove the name and form. And do I not see that I am everywhere? It is the name and form that limits me. In fact, one of the great texts in non-dual Vedanta, it says that there are 5 components which constitute this universe. The 3 are that isness, then the manifestation, and the bliss aspect of it. These 3 things they come from our true nature. The other 2 things, name and form, they are the contribution of the ignorance. Name and form are contributed by the ignorance. The existence, knowledge and bliss are contributed by our true nature. They are all pervading. They are constantly, unchangingly present. But other things, they come and go. Names and forms, they come and go. So, when we, at that stage, there is no body that you can call as my body. It is when one is not in samadhi, then the body becomes necessary. Then you think of the body. Like if you don't want to go anywhere, then your car might be in the garage, but you don't think of it. When you need to go somewhere, then the vehicle comes into your mind that I need some vehicle to go. So, when there is no need of anything, you are all pervading, where can you go? There is no need for a body at that state, in that situation. It is, and therefore no body there. We are not limited by anything at that stage. And therefore, also there are no numbers. We count 1, 2, and so forth. This is actually a property of our brain, or let us say limitation of our brain, that we count. When the separation is there, then only there is counting possible. If there is no separation, there is no counting, therefore no numbers either. So, all these things, although I am narrating them rather quickly, these are all matters of deep thought. So, with this being our true nature, at this the body has no role. Body doesn't come into picture. Body is not needed. There is no meaning to this idea as body. It is all pervading, infinite, one without second reality. So, it is body. Where does it step in now? How does it step in? In our language, it is very difficult to express this transition also. Because you see, when I say when, I automatically mean time. When I say where, it automatically means space. And how and why, it automatically means causation. So, therefore, our language has limitations that we have to understand. So, although I am using these words, when and where, they are not really applicable here. It is at this stage of samadhi, none of these become relevant. But, it is but. Now, let us see that ignorance of our true nature. I am somehow, how that can never be explained or discussed. How my true nature gets covered, that is a question that never can be answered logically, because it cannot be framed logically either. When the teachers of Vedanta, they are asked that how this ignorance came into being, where did it step in, exactly at what point did it step in, and why, and who made it happen. So all these questions, the teachers gave one answer: we do not know. And in one word, this we do not know is technically called as Maya. The word used in Vedanta scriptures is Maya. We don't know. That is how it is. Why did it happen? Well, the why idea itself, the causation is in the creation, in the body, in the variety. Where there is no variety, no many, there is no causation possible, no time possible, no space possible. And therefore, these questions cannot be logically asked. And since they cannot be logically asked, one cannot expect logical answers either. And that is what the teachers therefore say, that you want logical answer, ask a logical question, then we will be able to give you a logical answer. So here the question cannot be presented logically, and therefore the answer, a logical answer, cannot be expected either. But this ignorance of true nature, and there comes then the separation. The oneness kind of gets fractured. I am universe is. This oneness of existence now gets kind of divided. Without any division, it gets divided. That is the fun of it. It is therefore almost, why almost fully impossible to draw a separating line where you can show I ends here and the world begins here. Try, friends. You will never be able to draw a separating line that it is here I and from here onwards it is world. You can never draw such a line. It is because such a line actually doesn't exist, and that is why you cannot draw it. Somehow the ignorance has separated it. That is why the word ignorance is used there. Ignorance has separated it means actually there is no separation. It is, separation is only in our ignorance. So, when the ignorance is gone, the separation also is gone. So, I am, and then separation, universe is. Now, here this, in truth there is oneness. In ignorance there is separation. So now this I am becomes full of desires. This I is imperfect because the wants, what is the meaning of imperfection? I don't have this, I don't have that. That is the meaning of this imperfection. I need so many things. So that is how the desires come into play now. Many hymns, right from the Vedic Sanhita times, or Vedic Sanhita part of the scripture, to Upanishads or to other important texts, you can see that it is all the desire that manifests first. It is the desire that makes universe appear before us. If there is no desire, there is no universe. It is, if there is no desire, there is no coming out of samadhi either. Sri Ramakrishna, it is such a great description. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you read this, that Sri Ramakrishna is in samadhi, and as he comes down from the samadhi, he utters the words, I will drink water, and so forth. Because since his body is for distribution of this knowledge, he is not supposed to go into samadhi permanently. And so as he goes into samadhi, he takes a desire with him. And holding on to the rope of this desire, then he kind of climbs down and then says, therefore, I want to drink water. So some such simple, harmless desire he carries with him, so that holding on to that desire, he can come to our level and converse with us. So this I am and universe is, it is always in a kind of dynamic balance. That is the state of this I and universe. Always in dynamic balance. In the sense, see, I am receiving all the things at every moment. I am seeing the form, things are coming into me. I am speaking, the things are going out of me. At every level, it is a communication in and out, going on. So, this is a kind of dynamic equilibrium between I and the universe that is going on. Because this separation is product of ignorance. This separation, as it were, if you think, we don't like it. A desire is an expression of that something is there out in the universe, I want it. I don't like the separation between I and that. All desires, therefore, are of that type, that the separation between I and that is not liked. Uh, all desires, you can say, have this root in it. The separation is disliked. And therefore, when the separation kind of goes away, we feel the desire is fulfilled. I like a cookie, I want and get the cookie. And when the distance between I and cookie is gone, then my desire of having the cookie is seemingly fulfilled. So, we hate this distance between I and the world. It kind of tortures us, and that torturing is the expressed as desire. We therefore do not like loneliness too much. When the world tortures us, we feel, let me be alone. But that loneliness also starts torturing us. Why? Because we are actually one. So, that is another nice topic of discussion, that problem of loneliness. And this ignorance is thus the basic body. This basic body has no form, no shape, no size. I, with this body, has unspecified hunger, desire. This is called the causal body, the Karana Sharira. The Sanskrit word is the Karana Sharira. Causal because it is the cause of the other bodies. So, therefore, it has this term, causal body. Everything is kind of contained in it. There is, like if you have, a big box. Everything that you have, many things at home, you put in that box. Now, that box contains all those things, but they are not separately visible, just as when you see the box. Those things are inside the box. When you open, they will come out. So, all our desires are contained in it, but they are not separately visible there. This is called the causal body. And the scriptures say, do we really experience this? Yes. This being the causal body, without this, our other two bodies will not function. Just as without electricity, the blades will not move, the motor also will not move. The motor will not move because there is no electricity, and because the motor is not moving, the blades will not move at all. So, this is the causal body that is kind of powering the other two bodies. So, this, do we experience? Yes. When can we have really the experience of this causal body? There is the stage that we all experience. I hope you are not experiencing it at that moment, maybe some are, and that is called the state of deep sleep. State of deep sleep. What, Richard, do you have? the state of deep sleep, you see, where there is no specific awareness. There is no specific knowledge that is coming up. There is no particularization of desires there. It is, there is the separation still there, but that separation has no specifics. Where I and you are, you don't know. But there is the distinctness, it is only seen when we attach our other bodies to it. The other two bodies, of course, this is the lecture 1 of the whole, the 2 series. So, we are going to take up only that overview today. We are going to discuss the details of the functions of these 3 bodies later, next Sunday. But let us see that this causal body, when we are in deep sleep, then are we there or are we not there? I am there. And I am still separate. I am still separate from Richard. When I am sleeping and Richard is also sleeping, and then what happens? Well, this separateness cannot be shown. How do we know that there still was separateness? Because when we wake up, I do not wake up as Richard, nor Richard, fortunately for him, does not wake up as Swami. It is, why do we wake up separately? Because when we were asleep, although the separateness was not apparent, it was there. When you wake up, that became now available, that's all. So, it is like that there is the separateness, but that separateness is not apparent. So, we are all same in deep sleep. As far as our experience goes, there is no difference, Otherwise, our knowledge is different. But when we are asleep, our knowledge is same. Somebody could be a beggar, somebody could be a billionaire. Both are same in their sleep, Billionaire is, the place that they are sleeping would be different. But in sleep, they are not aware of any of these. The billionaire is not aware that I am billionaire, and the beggar is not aware that I am a beggar. Both at that stage enjoy the bliss. This stage of deep sleep is a state of maximum happiness that one can have in this relative stage. That everything else that we do for happiness actually tires us. What rejuvenates us is this state of sleep. It is, and in the state of sleep, we have that happiness, which is unspecific. Other happiness can have the specification, like happiness of listening to music that we will be doing shortly after this lecture. Today there is a music concert, that is why I am telling that it is, you can specify that this was because of the listening of music that I was feeling happy. Because I was eating ice cream, I was feeling happy. Because I was reading a nice book, I was feeling happy. Because I met this friend of mine, I was happy. There is cause for happiness. But when we are asleep, you cannot specifically say that why I was happy, and yet this is the maximum happiness that one can get in this world, the happiness of the deep sleep. It is deep sleep is so necessary for our functioning. If we do not have sleep, so many sleep disorders, they actually affect the whole life of a person. Many other health issues, they come because we don't get enough sleep. The sleep is very important thing, because that is our the uh, real background body, this causal body, which is pervading our other two bodies, just as the electricity is pervading in the motor as well as in the fan. So also the causal body is pervading these our other two bodies. The other two bodies, they are the result of further grossification of this ignorance. It is the ignorance becomes further, gross, further thickens up, so as to say, and this thickening of ignorance further gives rise to the two bodies. The desires become further specific and now strong. They get outlines, as it were. The desires become specific. And now the two bodies, two further bodies, they arise they become the tools for fulfillment. It is maybe just like we may have some unspecific desire of having a house. It becomes specific that, oh, I want house. That was my problem. I want a house. Now, with that desire now becoming specific, the shape of the house, what I want, all that starts becoming clear to me. That it is, and then the tools for that are seen. Tool means I need to have a drawing, a proper map of the house, what I want to make, and then the materials needed for that, that also I have to have. So these two together, one is the subtle body, the software, which we will discuss later next lecture, that what constitutes this subtle body and what constitutes the gross body, the hardware, including brain. So these two, they form the next two levels of body. The three, all the three are experienced separately by us. Like a gross body, what is the gross body? We all know, that is seen by the eyes. It is touch, you can touch it, you can hold to it. A gross body made of flesh, blood, bone, and so forth. What you eat, that gets processed and called then body, So that is the gross body. The subtle body, it is the world of thought, imagination, and so forth, feelings, this storing of the experiences, all that, it forms this subtle body. And they are all meaningful only with the causal body forming the chassis or the substratum for these two. And beyond that is our true nature, the self, which is the bliss itself. So, that is manifesting in an imperfect way through these three bodies. So, we shall continue this discussion in our next lecture. But if you have some questions about it, that how these three bodies are, please feel free to ask. Yes, Kristan?
Is the ahankara, the sense of individuality and personality, eternal?
Is that?
Eternal. Is it everlasting?
Eternal.
Yeah, a lot of these
A very good question. Is that sense of I eternal? Yes and no. Why no? Let me tell you why no first. That it is in time this I functions. Sense of ego functions in time, and in that sense it is not eternal. Secondly, it goes away, and therefore also it is not eternal. But it is eternal in the sense that as long as it is there, the time is also there. And so therefore, if there is time, ego is also there. And so you cannot have time and ego mutually separate. And therefore, it is eternal. If I have ego, then I have time also. If I have time, I have ego also. In that sense, it is eternal. But it is not eternal because it goes away. In samadhi, it goes away. In that state of perfect God awareness, it goes away, and therefore it is not eternal.
So it's much like the Ishvara. It reappears and comes into manifestation after each pralaya or Mahavantra.
Please.
I think I understand this.
Okay. Yes, John?
Yeah, children seem to be naturally blissful. So would you say they're closer to
Who?
children?
Children, yeah. You are right there. Yeah, children are naturally usually blissful. It is. Therefore, they many times are used as symbols of this bliss. But don't say this to children. It is only after we grow up, then we think like that. Ask children, their opinion is very different. That if you go to your memory when you were a child and think from that standpoint, the children are eager to, outgrow this childhood. I don't want this childhood is a slavery. My goodness, I have to go. Whatever my parents tell or others, I have to do accordingly. And they are waiting, when they grow. It is, I met a girl, about 15 years old, and she was so upset with every now and then with mommy and daddy. And why so? Well, no, she can't go anywhere. I'm waiting to get my driving license, you see. It is. Then she may realize that later on, when she becomes, say, 65, then she will start writing poems about how blissful the childhood was and how free we used to be then, how we had no anxieties at all at that time. and so forth. The poetry books are filled with that. But therefore, we can have that as symbol. Therefore, it is many times it is said it is a childlike thing, not childish. Childish has a different connotation. It is a childlike simplicity and all that. So it is a closer state, right? Yes, Shravani?
In Vedanta, we often talk about the universal ego, the universal I. Is that also bound with time?
Yes, universal I also has three bodies. Mm. Universal I also has three bodies, three big bodies, that's all. It is. Just to give an example, to correlate, that this now inside this body called Shravani, there are so many tiny cells. Each of them is a body. Each of them has an eye. Now, Shravani's eye is kind of a universal eye for those little eyes. Now think, where we all are like these tiny cells. The earth is a slightly bigger cell, that's all. Think of that big body. That could be imagined as the universal self. This is, matter of abstract thinking. Think of where everything is included. It is our, the Vedantic thinkers were great mathematical abstractionists. So they could think in a very abstract manner. So you will see individual and cosmic. It was always such a wonderful understanding that they had. Like in math, you see, you have set theory. Set gets meaning only if there is a universal set. Otherwise, your sets do not carry in themselves much meaning. To have meaning to your set arithmetic, you have to have a universal set. So that is like that. Yes, Shrikant?
So you mentioned that causal body is oneness of causal body because the deep sleep state is the same as experienced by everyone.
Please say loudly.
The causal body is one because the deep sleep state is experienced by everyone at the same level. It's the same experience. Whereas when you are mentioning the existence of causal body, you gave it as more as an inference because only the waking state where the multiplicity is seen, it comes back, and only then can it infer that the causal body exists.
Correct.
So how could the multiplicity in waking state corroborate the unity of causal body?
It cannot. But we have to use, if we could reason in the deep sleep state, maybe we won't need a corroboration like that. But since we are discussing this during waking state, we are using the tools of waking state. Otherwise, you are right there that you cannot use the multiplicity here as the tool to show the oneness of the causal body. You can only say that by inference and by this experience that you could not show the distinctions. Moreover, showing distinction, the need, when you want to show distinction, then there is a requirement that you have to have at least one specification which is not shared by the two. Do you see this? that when you want to show that A is different from B, then how can you show A as different from B? You have to have at least one characteristic that is not commonly shared. Then only on the basis of that uncommon characteristic you can show A is different from B. If all characteristics of A and B are exactly same, then there is no distinction between A and B. So, in deep sleep, can you show the distinctions, characteristics? You cannot show separate characteristics, and therefore there is no possibility of separation. There is no logical possibility of separation there. Separation, to show separation, you need a proof. Otherwise, there is no separation. Yes?
This sound we talk about, Pashanti, Madhyama, like they work on these three levels?
Yes. They also work on these three levels, yeah. We will come to that. Actually, in the this discussion will go on mainly on what is as described in Mandukya Upanishad, without actually referring to the Upanishad itself. I am following without becoming too technical. I am trying to bring those ideas. So the para, pashyanti, madhyama, vaikhari, these also belong to that stage, correct? Yes, Sharad?
Where does the dream state fit into
Yeah, dream state is an example where you see the separate subtle body. The dream state and the waking state is the gross body. Of course, for the gross body, all the three bodies have to be there. Just as for the fan to function, you have to have the blades, the motor and electricity. All three have to be together.
I guess I was distinguishing that from the deep state.
Yeah. When you deep sleep, there is no perception. In dream, there is still the perception of I and world. All separateness is there. In dream, in fact, the separation is much more vivid and varied than in the waking state. We shall discuss that in the next lecture, that what is the subtle body and what is the gross body, and connection of all the three bodies, and how this analysis can help us to realize our true nature by getting proper inspiration as well as the proper guidance in that direction.